What you're seeing here with the yellowish cap on the top is an atomizer, and what we're seeing on the right with the silver top is a cartomizer. The first thing I'd like you to notice is that the top of the atomizer is completely flat, and the top of the cartomizer has the centerpiece actually sticks up a little bit and has a groove ground in it that you don't see on the atomizer. That is very important for airflow. In fact, airflow on a cartomizer is very different than an atomizer, and we're going to look at a big diagram of that in just a minute. If we flip them around to look at the back side, again the cartomizer is on the right. It's the one with all the white stuffing in it. You can see that the heating element, there's a little straw in there and a wire actually comes out the bottom. The heating element on a cartomizer goes all the way from one end to the other, which is one reason they vape better than atomizers. The atomizer has a little thing that looks like a Brillo scouring pad in the top of it. That's not the heating element, that's actually a wick that wicks the liquid from the filler material up to where the heating element is. The heating element is a little wire, glows red hot. We'll show you that when we do a little more details a little bit later. Let's start with the atomizer first. As I mentioned earlier, one very important thing is that the center contact on the atomizer is flush with the outside of the threads, so it doesn't matter how tight you screw it on and it'll work either way. If you look in the side, we didn't show that earlier, but there's a groove in the side that does not go down very far. Immediately below that, in orange here, you can see there's actually a rubber grommet. What that does is it separates the negative contact from the positive contact. So electrically that's very important, but it's also very important in describing the difference in airflow between an atomizer and a cartomizer. Down the side of the atomizer you'll see two holes. Some are 2-hole models, some are 4-hole models. Those holes are where the air actually comes in for combustion. The blue squirrely thing here is meant to represent the heating element, which we'll show you again later. And the big yellow thing here is the actual wick. Again, that looks like steel wool or like a Brillo pad, and wicks the liquid up to the heating element. The important thing is that in an atomizer, airflow is very simple. Air comes in the holes in the side, the heating element is right there, it gets hot, and you suck it through the end into your lungs. Cartomizers are a little bit more complicated, and that's part of the reason they actually vape better. Let's start at the same place. Let's start at the top. That center contact actually sticks up a little bit, so one of the problems that people have is they'll over tighten a cartomizer, which will limit the airflow. The groove that we showed you when we did the close-up picture is where all of the air for vaping has to go through. So it goes in that center little groove, goes down, and of course in the cartomizer the heating element runs right down the center, so there's more heating element in contact with more liquid, which makes for better vaping. What is more complex about the cartomizer is airflow. There are holes in the side, but as you can see where we had the orange grommet on the top on the atomizer, the grooves in the side of the cartomizer are much deeper, and that electrical isolation grommet is at the bottom. So you still get some airflow in the holes, but it's not all that important. You'll often see a cartomizer where the holes are partially blocked, if not mostly blocked, by that little rubbery grommet. This space is important because you'll also get some airflow through the outside where the threads are. And again, you don't want to over tighten it, because you will see that if you do over tighten it, that airflow will be cut off and you won't get as much air through. Now here you can see the heating element is actually glowing on the atomizer, which is on the right. We've taken one apart for you so you can see it actually working. And what you're witnessing when it cools off is we actually have someone blowing on it to simulate air draw by taking a drag on the e-cigarette. So what you'll actually see is that how you drag is very important. If you drag too hard or too soft, it'll be too hot or too slow. So your drag is actually acting as a temperature control. Now what we're showing is a completely disassembled cartomizer. The small wire between the big silver part of the cartomizer and the tiny little metal thing standing on end is actually the heating element, which is normally coiled up like a spring inside the length of the cartomizer.